on, everyone? We are back on the show. 2 streams in a row. So we've been doing 2-a-days. Everyone's for the last few days. There've been 2-a-days. So the 2-a-days will continue until morale improves. Okay, until glory, until Hex is at $5. You may get 2 streams from time to time. You never know. And I may just not stream for a week or 2. That could also be a possibility. But until then, boy, do we got some fun topics, streams, people who want to riff on everything going on in the ecosystem. A lot of great stuff going on out there. And one new person to the show, one regular, Mr. Abdul, and one new person to the show. So get your questions in the chat. I've dropped CryptoSolv's link to X in the chat as well. So check that out. Ton of great threads, wealth of information. But welcome to the show for the first time, CryptoSolv, and Fast Abdul's back. How's it going, gents?
Yeah, yes. Good.
Glad it's I want to fast here too to be like, I know you asked some good questions. I know you've got a lot of just each of your threads. I feel like I could do a stream on, like, maybe I should start doing that. I should do a CryptoSolv playlist where I just go through and just deep dive into each one. I probably couldn't do as good a job as you do writing them, and Fast can help me parse through some of them too. But really, I just want to say I appreciate you being in the community and the work that you've been doing on X, and helps me it makes my job a little bit easier. A bit like stuff that's going on out there, I can read your thread, I can click around, I can see what's going on, and it's just very, very informative. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of data, I guess, in all blockchains, and I spent a lot of time looking into it, and they got to a point where I thought, fuck it, why not post it on the internet as well for a bit of edutainment.
Yes, I mean there's no shortage of rabbit holes to go down on PulseChain, which is,
that's for sure.
Which is a great segue too. Like, you want to give kind of an introduction, like how'd you come across this? Why is this your home for the edutainment?
Yeah, sure. Relatively early Hexkin, not quite day one, but still in the AA phase, and spent the first couple of years of my crypto journey not engaging whatsoever with socials. I just bought and walked away, didn't look too hard at it. And I think, I don't know, came maybe 2022, thought, let's join some Telegram chats and see what this is all about. And then Hex trading was real. I guess I really found my people. And then spent a lot of time doing a lot of analysis, and it just sort of grew from there under a completely different name. And then, yeah, sort of eventually grew to a point where now this is not only a hobby, but I make a reasonable income from people paying me for chain analysis. PulseChain is a challenging ecosystem to do it in because the tools we have available suck. We don't get. Wow, yeah, the lack of debank is an absolute killer. But without a lot of these tools, it's so manual and it's so sort of labor intensive that it's, I guess, a useful niche to be in, because it's very hard for people to find what they want without someone digging it into it for them.
It's getting a little bit better though. There are
slowly,
some
yep.
more than there were 2 months ago, we'll say.
Oh yeah, and some of there was a sudden influx of block explorers pop up in the last 6 months, and every man and their dog was releasing one, and they're all good to a degree. They've all got their sort of use cases, and I find myself using 3 or 4 different ones sometimes to get all the info. None of them are an Etherscan copy. And Etherscan has its issues, I guess, particularly with the ad side of things. But yeah, none of them are an Etherscan copy, but they do a pretty good job.
Oh, it got me licking my lips on Etherscan copy. One day, please, Etherscan chain. What is? I mean, both of you, like, what are your favorite? What are your go-to block explorers? And we've got Midgard. We've got, of course, the IPFS one, the standard one. What are the other ones?
Lightbeam.
Lightbeam,
yeah,
of course.
Gerardo's one. Yep. There's I think a lesser known one. I don't know that many people use this one, but Key Explorer.
Oh yeah,
a vector.
use that one.
Yeah, and so it's a Scout fork, I think, and it basically just has some of the functionality that the main Block Explorer should have.
What is there
I end up
one
using
you said?
Midgard the most probably, but I still use PulseScan a lot too, depending if I'm interacting with contracts or not.
Yeah, I mean, Otterscan as well has its use cases, particularly for breaking down transaction data.
That's the one I was going to say. Otterscan. That's the only feature that I think it shines above most of them is the breakdown of transactions, where stuff is going.
Yeah. Horrible user experience otherwise, but yeah.
Loading. I've never seen a site where you go to. It's like I need to load for a minute. It's like, wait, this is the internet. Can you just load real quick? Like, but that's just the way it works. It's just the way it's architect. What do you find, both of you? Do you find yourself using one or the other for particular, like, oh, I need to look at transactions, so I use this one, or I need this one has this feature? Like, how do you decide which one to use?
There's no real good filtering option. Well, I guess there's no sort of Etherscan equivalent filtering option, so I end up using Kexplorer and a little bit of Lightbeam and sometimes Midgard. Depends on what I'm trying to filter. If I want to filter by token, that's a challenging concept. And if I want to export data to a CSV, I might as well punch myself in the nuts.
Is it what's the URL for the Kexplorer? I don't know if I've used that one. You drop it in the private chat.
Pro. Yeah, I'll just drop it now.
Boys, I just want to let everyone know we're at 0. I read 12 cents when I first saw that. I was like, all right, we're not there yet, but boy, 0.128 cents looks amazing.
Yeah, it's wild.
Wow, that is quite a URL for the Keck one. Here we go.
Yeah. It's possibly why it's not super well known, but I like it. I think the challenge with a number of these is they haven't indexed completely yet. And I think a couple of these guys have just picked the first fork block to index back to, which makes sense in the context of sensible data usage.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know. I remember in the early, didn't 9mm or somebody wasn't there like a bunch there?
Oh yeah, they've got one. Yeah, okay. Same deal. Same Block Scout fork. I used to use that one a lot.
Fast. What do you like to use for? I mean, is there one you like to use for transactions or portfolio viewer? I know I like PLS.
I used to use Midgard. It's prettiest, it's fastest, it's the most user friendly, I find. For just like normal stuff, like seeing the holder count, and it gives you a nice little pie chart to show the distribution, things like that. If I'm doing stuff actually interacting with the blockchain for one of my protocols, I'll likely reference PulseScan or Otterscan if I'm depending on what data I'm looking for. Some of them it seems like it's a crapshoot on whether the data is updated as quickly as I would like it to be. And so sometimes the winner just depends on the day.
Yeah, and I guess that's where the challenge comes in that none of them are perfect.
Yeah,
they all have the use cases.
I got a question here from Fox Monitor. What does Midgard do everything DBank does? That incoming transaction tracker was gold. Sucks they stopped supporting PulseChain. Yeah, what is missing from Midgard, or does it do, or what is missing that we don't have from DBank? I guess.
Just like so, DBank Pro or DBank VIP, I think it's called, has the ability to like really break down and analyze by token and export that data to CSV, and the ability to export that data to CSV in a user-friendly way is legitimately probably how I do 90% of my non-PulseChain analysis now.
Wow. So what do you do since that's gone though?
A lot of manual work. It takes legitimately 20 times longer. So
like you're talking about, what I always liked it for was this with transactions tab.
Yeah, and then analysis mode, right, which you can't use unless you have VIP.
Oh, okay.
And so it'll let you sort of analyze by blockchain, by protocol often, or by contract interaction. So if I want to get a quick picture of how say how much LibertySwap has put over the PulseChain bridge, I can get that data in 2 minutes, easy.
And would it be here? If I mean, I guess if it would let me
Yeah,
use it.
yeah. If you had VIP, you'd be able to click on one of those, and it'd sort of filter by that. Or down in the token section, you could filter by token. And particularly when we had PulseChain support, that was massive, massive, massive. Without it, it's pretty challenging.
Did you know there's an America token and a Dream token? There we go. Yeah, I mean, that being said, have you seen LibertySwap bridge over to PulseChain yet?
Shitloads, yeah. So they.
Oh, really?
They're so how it works, right, is on, and I wrote a thread on this, but I get that some of my threads are quite lengthy, but how they are moving money around is you're putting money into one of their contracts on a variety of chains, whether that's Base or Arbitrum or whatever. They then are shuffling that money through the normal bridge into their contract on PulseChain, sort of following the flow of money. So if I look at their transactions on a fairly consistent basis, it's just constant bridging over 30 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand to keep up with the flow of money. So the actual liquidity that they have over all of their contracts on all of their chains at any one time is probably still only about 100 grand. But because they just spend 24/7 moving money around, they can keep up with that flow. What it means is that they'll be taking in, say, I don't know, 30 grand a day from Base. They'll whip off 25, 28 grand of that. They'll bridge it to Ethereum. Then they'll bridge it from Ethereum to PulseChain to dump into their PulseChain contract so that they can keep fulfilling orders on the other side. And one of the questions I asked of them recently was, should you not be aiming to have higher liquidity? Because if you get a run of transactions, if right now people wanted to try and use their services to buy $500,000 of PulseChain assets in the next 30 minutes, they couldn't do it. But they could do it in the span of an hour. It just takes time to move the money, right? So they can fulfill those transactions. It's quite a sort of frustratingly manual process in the background. And that's what I think what people don't really understand is they see the magic happening up front and it works really well. But in the background, they are just 24/7 rampantly moving money blockchain to blockchain to keep up with demand.
They have been raising their limits over time, though, right? Like it started out with smaller limits, higher. So I would imagine if demand picked up, they would probably increase that 100 grand to 200 grand and so on and so forth. I feel they likely have some backing.
Yeah, they're the ones who have to come up with that liquidity, I guess. And a lot of these cross-chain swap protocols allow users to deposit funds into the contracts to facilitate that liquidity, and in return you're going to get some APY from the fees and etc. They at the moment don't do that and have been explicit that they will not do that until at least their contracts are verified and audited. They've sort of been pretty clear that they don't hold any user funds, and because of that, it means they are the ones fronting up with all the liquidity. So they're the ones who are rampantly having to move stuff back and forth to keep up with demand, which is fine. It's working fine. If I look just yesterday alone in a 24-hour window, they bought in about $750,000 over the bridge. It just means that they are literally 24/7 moving money around. And if they can keep up with that, then great.
Is that something, I mean, is the plan like to automate it? Like you could see that just a contract doing this over time?
They could probably automate it more than they do at the moment. I think they would give themselves a lot more leeway if they had just more liquidity to give themselves a bit more time and buffer to achieve that.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
By the way, everyone, I just want to clarify, we're talking about LibertySwap, not World Liberty Finance.
Not World Liberty Finance, no.
You haven't seen World Liberty Finance bridging the PulseChain yet, have you?
No. I think there's some speculation that they're intertwined, and it's wild speculation.
They have a lot of liquidity.
Yeah.
Big league.
No.
Big league.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can get into that too. Like how how does it work? How does LibertySwap work? I know you did the thread on it. They've
Yeah,
been
if you
gaining
can
super big
find it,
popularity.
I'll see if I can find the specific picture that sort of describes it. But I guess as I was briefly talking about before, you deposit money into contracts on one side, they send money from their contracts on the other side. There's some magic that happens in between, some off-chain magic. So there is some, yeah, that's the picture. There is some centralization risk with cross-chain swaps. It's unfortunate there's nothing much you can do about that, and it's why I've been pressing them gently to at some point verify and audit those contracts, because at least there's a tiny element of risk that at some point, worst case scenario, it's not going to happen, but worst case scenario, they're moving $2 million a day, let's say, and all of a sudden one day transactions stop fulfilling on the other side, and we're looking into it, and meanwhile sort of people keep sending money, and everything disappears. They stop fulfilling transactions, they take the $2 million or whatever that's been deposited into their base in Ethereum contracts, and they walk away. That would be really easy to do. It's probably not going to happen. They've been pretty consistently delivering, but I guess that's the risk people take in cross-chain swaps. It's not like bridging. Bridging, the PulseChain bridge in particular, has a pretty, I guess, it's pretty old contract. It's pretty well versed. The risk is relatively low that all of the bridge validators just disappear. But yeah, cross-chain swaps come with some element of user risk, which is part of the reason why having transaction limits is great. Having a $5,000 transaction limit limits the damage to an individual user. If you suddenly saw that transaction limit go to 100 grand or 200 grand, well, now the risk is higher to an individual user. I would say if you're bringing big money in, just use the bridge. Don't piss around with cross-chain swaps. I mean, you'd be there all day if you were going to anyway. You might as well just use the bridge.
So the cross-chain swaps is more for it's retail, right? It's enable people to more easily get in faster. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And like these guys are, I guess, building out connections with on-ramps. ZKP2P or something that they're sort of trying to integrate into their protocol, but Gibbs.finance is pretty similar in that they've sort of tried to include on-ramp as the first step, and then it sort of goes into the protocol. But yeah, it's retail. If you're whale moving money, you shouldn't be trying to move money through LibertySwap. I mean, you can. You're just going to be there all day. But if you want to move
there is a trade-off for the convenience, but the convenience is an advantage, because there is lots of retail out there, and we want them to have an easy experience. And most of them are not moving $500,000; they're moving whatever, a couple thousand. So
100%. And I mean, I've used it. It's great. It works really well. I would continue to use it if I was a retail user, probably as a first choice, just out of convenience, with the understanding that, and I guess general retail doesn't know or doesn't understand that there is a tiny element of centralization risk, but it's probably minimal. For Richard to be
how would you compare that to, let's say,
talking
a
about
centralized exchange?
What's that? Sorry. Oh, fuck, centralized exchanges. I'd use this any day over a centralized exchange. I try to keep
What's a centralized
exchange?
I have no idea.
I've been have them in other communities.
BX,
we don't have them.
Kraken, Coinbase.
Yeah. Literally, I'm I don't even know
what
those are. I know what a Coinbase is, but that's about it. Yeah. A couple other ones.
Yeah, I haven't touched them bar on ramp and off ramp for years.
Literally,
they are a necessary evil.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally getting money on and off. If I'm not trading and I'm just trying to get money into my wallet and stuff, like, why would I don't even. It's like a 2017 thing. It's like a throwback. Sexes are like a throwback deal to me these days.
Yeah.
What is the difference between? Okay.
I was just going to say one of the on-ramp options that popped up in about May was Ramp Now, and that's the one that Hex Scout is pretty consistently using and brought to the ecosystem. So props to them. They sort of direct bank to PulseChain effectively. No CEX, no KYC. I think no KYC, but limited to some geographical regions, and they definitely have transaction limits. And I can't remember what their fees are like, but it's an option. But if you're trying
Are
to
they
not
available
use
for the US now? I feel like
no,
they
I
were
don't
blocked
think so.
before. Yeah, okay.
I don't think so. They're based in Poland, I think. So there's probably some challenges getting US user access.
So I was going to ask on Gibbs .finance, what is the difference between Gibbs and LibertySwap?
Gibbs is cool. So Gibbs is, for the most part, just uses the native bridge. It's just a different front end for the native bridge. But in both directions, I think they give you the opportunity to use or to, I guess, increase your privacy a little bit by setting a different destination address. And whilst that destination address is sort of in the depths of the transaction data, it's not obvious. You can pull it out if you know what you're looking for, but if you wanted a pseudo privacy way to use the normal bridge, then that's where Gibbs really shines in both directions. They also more relevant when you're bridging out, but they will basically do the claim function for you. So you pay them a small fee up front, and it pays whoever's running that function on the other end to do the claim function. So it's just a one-click, you bridge out, the money's there. There's no sort of two-step process, and they'll also unwrap ETH as part of that process as well, which is pretty cool.
What about the fee for that service compared to just bridging yourself? What's the difference?
There's a slight increase. It depends on gas fees, because you're basically paying for the gas fee on the other end to some degree. So it depends on the gas fee environment as to what that fee is. You're still just paying the 0.3% bridge out fee, but you're also paying a gas fee on top of that. It might work out to 0.5% or 1% depending on the gas environment. So it will be more expensive, but you don't have to do the manual claim transaction, which you're going to have to pay gas fees for anyway.
We touched a
What
little bit on
about
privacy. Go ahead, Vess.
what about other ways to get on? I know Power City has PortalX, I believe.
Yeah,
There's cross-chain
PortalX swap. Yep. Similar-ish concept, I guess, to LibertySwap, but PortalX swap, I think, routes a lot of it through Change Now, so their limits are quite low. I mean, you can get onto PulseChain with Change Now.
Rubik's or something like that.
Yes. So it's one way of getting on, and again, it's like a lot of these cross-chain swaps are handy because they sort of totally delink the transactions on both ends. If you look at the transaction data on either end of a transaction, you can't tell which wallet it goes to. So if you want to set a different destination wallet, great, that's a really good option for moving money around. If you're sort of particularly concerned about privacy. But yeah, I think
it adds privacy.
Yeah, it adds privacy. And I think if you were looking to add privacy, LibertySwap's handy, PortalX is handy, Gibbs is handy. All of these have an element of additional privacy over just the standard bridge. Now, none of them are perfect, right? Gibbs is great, but it's not perfect. I've had transactions that I've made in the past that just never delivered, and I had to manually contact the guy on Telegram to say, hey, where's my money? And he's, I did, there was an issue with one of the contracts because he is adding an extra contract basically at the end that handles the claim functions.
So there's some centralization with Gibbs too on that.
Yeah, 90% of what you're using is just the native bridge, but if you are using the sort of automated delivery feature, and if you're using the sort of unwrap ETH, if you're bridging out ETH, then there's an extra contract in the mix. And so you're hoping that the guy who wrote and deployed the contract is done it right, and again doesn't run away with your money. You can use Gibbs just as a straight front end for the bridge, and it won't add any extra contract into the mix if you really wanted to.
So it's kind of like bridge front end with optional privacy.
non-EVMs?
Sorry.
Good. Fast.
What about bridging from non-EVM chains like Solana type thing?
Yeah, I guess that's where cross-chain swaps are gonna really come into their own, because at the moment that's a pretty big headache, and that sounds like that is on the cards for LibertySwap in the near future.
I think that's a pretty that'd be a pretty big service. I know PortalX swap has from Solana right now, but it's hard to do any sort of volume more than like $500. If people could move $10,000 from Solana, I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the more options we have, the better, to a degree, as long as all of those options are good.
Before we go on, I wanted to hit on privacy a little bit too, because I know there's been a little bit going on there. But Freeman asked, what do you guys think is the main reason behind the pump these days? PulseChain seems to outperform most. Has there been any data or bridge stuff or otherwise that could be buying some of the pump?
There's a lot of stables and some ETH coming in. A lot of the big addresses that are bringing money in, there's not much to say about them. They bring 200 grand in from Coinbase, they bridge over and they FOMO Pulse or Hex or one or the other, nothing's overly suspicious is coming in, let's put it that way.
Nothing that's gone through a mixer or Tornado Cash or whatever before it comes in?
Not any significant transaction sizes. I mean, it's when we're looking at times like this, when every man and their dog is buying at a rapid pace, it's really hard to keep pace. If you were going to bring money in that's been mixed previously, you're probably going to be bringing in relatively small quantities to fly it under the radar. And so, like, a lot of my transaction limits are set at 100 grand, because for the most part I don't care what's coming in under 100 grand, but I'm interested in everyone bringing in over 100 grand, and all of those are pretty straightforward, probably just a guy. But there's a lot of capital on chain dormant, and a lot of that's probably been deployed at the moment. Realistically, if I look at what the bridge has done over the last month, it's up probably about $10 million in ETH and in stables as a TVL. So like the money is flowing in, particularly since that massive guy stopped dumping. It's just been a one-way street. And as I said earlier, LibertySwap just yesterday alone bought in like 750 grand, because the demand's clearly there from other chains.
It's weird. The wallets that are coming in are new wallets to PulseChain or old wallets to PulseChain? Like, is that somebody coming back, or is it brand new customers?
I mean, a lot of them look brand new, but that's not to say they are brand new. It's just they've spun up a new. They've bought money in from Coinbase or whatever and spun up a new wallet, and the way they go, that's not to say that wasn't money that disappeared 6 to 12 months ago and is back. But often, if you're sort of fresh wallet from a centralized exchange, it's nearly impossible to hunt that back to something that exited.
Is this the way that you look at big amounts coming in? Like, do you like sort by on Arkham, or like is this like a good way of doing it? I just go on here, I just do USD like 10K, 100K, stuff like that to see what's coming in.
Yeah, and if you pull out all the 0x ethics stuff, then it's a little bit easier. But
what is 0x ethics?
He arbs the price of ETH over multiple chains all day long, every day.
Oh. And
clearly makes enough of a profit margin to justify continuing to do it. But you'll see constant bridge transactions in 100 grand here, 200 grand here, 300 grand here, as he's arbing the price of ETH and probably making, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 grand every time, and then bridge back out and sort of repeat. But if you look at his profile on DBank, he does it over like multiple chains. Dude spends his life just arbing ETH prices.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes I use that, but otherwise I've just got Telegram bots set up. I think I now track 800 wallets, maybe.
No, 800 of like you mark them for just being whales.
Yeah, like whales, addresses of interest. Sometimes they're just dumbasses that I like to keep a track of so I can shitpost them.
Is it sorry, fast has got me.
Like OA addresses as well, because I wanted to keep an eye on what they were doing with Hex, and yeah, like there's a lot of OA addresses, so that makes up a pretty big chunk of that.
Well, great question there. Have you seen anything interesting going on with the OA lately?
Nope.
Indeed.
Pretty boring.
After the big stakes, is that the last big activity?
Yeah, big stakes, and then just leave the chain to drive the prices up themselves at this stage.
What do you think?
Again, who knows where some of this money is coming from? Like it all looks like normal users, but it might not entirely be.
Wasn't there talk about this the other day with Triplet Dad? Some of the ETH, so there was 171,000 roughly ETH originally, and now it's 166. Was there 5,000 ETH that was bridged out? What was the story for that?
Yeah, 4,200 was moved through Tornado Cash maybe 3 or 4 months ago from memory. Yeah.
Okay, so 4,200 times almost 4,000 was that?
It was about 7 million at the time because the ETH price was a lot lower. And
right now we got 16 million?
16 million, yeah. It was about 7 mil at the time, or 7 or 8 mil at the time. Don't know. Maybe it's funding a container load of onboarding materials.
Sounds possible.
Sounds
so
like a feasible
is there
use of it.
What would be the best way for RH to move funds onto the chain without everybody front running him? If he wanted to do that.
You basically can't. There's enough people looking out for the right things that you couldn't do it in any size at any pace. You could do it real slow, but if you're going to move money, say from the official treasury wallets, shall we call them?
Yeah.
There must be hundreds of people tracking their every movement. Like I don't know, I've got Telegram bots set up for them. The minute they move 1 ETH, I'll see it.
Right, it'll move there, but like, what if it went to either through a Tornado Cash type thing or through a centralized exchange and disappeared, and then came back in smaller chunks via one of these on ramps we're talking about?
Yeah, well, you could do it. You just have to do it slow.
Define slow, like million a day, 2 million a day. What are we talking?
Nah, I mean, depends on people's, like, you have to use the bridge for the majority of it, and if you're transact, depends on what people's sort of limits are as to what they're tracking, but you might have to move it 20 grand at a time.
Okay,
which
so you
is
mentioned that
just
you're not
mega
looking at anything
painful.
for 100K.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
How do we do privacy on PulseChain today? I know in this thread you talked about we have, was it ZK something, but there's not enough people using it?
I think. Nope. There's another one that just popped up that I saw the other day. I can't remember the name of it. That is
I saw Coffee
Tornado
tweet
Cash
about
fork. Yeah.
I'll find it. Yeah, oh yeah, Desktop did it, right?
Yeah. I haven't even looked into it. No idea what the deal is.
Let's see this one. So this was Pulse Tornado Fork, one filing machine, anywhere battle tested. Hundreds of millions of pulse have flowed through. So what? Yeah, have you looked at? You have any idea about this one yet?
No, I haven't even looked at it. That, if you're trying to move pulse around and the anonymity set is big enough, then sure, useful.
That's what
we don't have good options at the moment there's good options, I guess, on Ethereum if you're trying to sort of take stuff out and mix it and bring it back, but you have to be slow and careful with it. It's really hard to do well.
But with the one, what was it, ZK, the one we have on PulseChain, the Tornado Cash fork there?
Yeah, what was ZKZX, which I think still exists, but something happened with the token. Maybe it was a bit of a scam. I don't know. I don't keep that close of a track of it.
But they need volume to really work, eh? Like if there's only $1,000 moving through there a day, it's not exciting. But I bet you if RH put out one, if there was a official version, it would get volume, and then it's much easier to hide larger funds, right?
Oh yeah, you need volume. You need lots of people moving lots of money through those to make them work. And I guess a Tornado Cash fork is slightly limited by the if you're using the basic Tornado Cash fork, then it's limited by the the pools are only 10,000 pulse, 100,000 pulse, 1 million pulse, like factors of 10. So if you've got a 100 million pulse pool, then you have to have lots of people moving 100 million pulse at a time to even half and make that anonymous.
I hear you. What about the concept of just like privacy swaps, right? Where I could, do a swap on PulseX, send it to another wallet, maybe with some random time delay on the, the being sent to another wallet, or even if you could split it up, send this to 3 different wallets in random amounts, like could something like that be in the cards?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Right now you can already send to another wallet on PulseX. It's just there's no delay, and if you look at the transaction data, it's like really, really easy to see where it's going. But it is theoretically on the cards to have that as an option. And I think that would be one of the biggest.
Most people wouldn't be able to make that connection. I think it provide 80% obfuscation to the average user, I suspect.
100%, and I think I'm a bad example of
probably
how privacy can work, because I can find most stuff if I would look really hard. Now the tools we've got available make it really tricky, but if I look really hard, I can find most stuff.
So what would be a way to design something like that would make it hard for even you to actually track down the data in a reasonable amount of time?
There's got to be some delay. There's probably got to be some splitting of the transaction, and the transaction data can't contain the destination wallet. So it requires some pretty fancy contracts. Or you need to be managing some of that transaction off chain.
Like how Tornado Cash does it, where you get a code and you put in the code somewhere else.
Yeah.
Thing?
Yeah. I mean,
that's not very user friendly though.
No, it's not easy to do, but it does exist out there, and it's not unreasonable that at some point it will be a consistent option that we have available.
What about the block blend? Have you tried block blend before? Know anything about it?
No.
So this is supposed to be a cross-chain privacy bridge, and they support PulseChain. I've seen it before. I've seen people talk about it, but I was going to ask you, because in case you know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to have a look into it. It might be fairly similar to the Gibbs Finance concept, where they're just utilizing the native bridge but adding a sort of extra contract into the mix. I don't know. They might be running
Tornado Cash style, where they have the anonymity sets, where you have 0.1, 10, 50. It's that. I also pulled up the desktop one, which is it's still loading latest deposits 999. Yeah, is there a way to see, like, if I go to Tornado Cash, it'll show me anonymity set. Some of them say like 900 some. What does that mean? Like when you see that, it's like you see one that's better or worse?
The more the better.
More the better. So this is 999.
Like more, yeah. If you're trying to run anything through an anonymity set, if there's been 2,000 transactions that day, you're going to be able to mask stuff a lot easier than if there's been 10 in the last 6 months.
Yeah. That, I mean, 999 sounds like a default number.
It might be.
And then because you get 37798. Interesting. Yeah, everyone.
Some of these anonymity sets are really small, like the 10K die one maybe on Tornado Cash, too small to use. Like you can't hide your movements.
274.
Or the
Hard
100K
to
die.
hide like $1 billion worth of ETH on there, for example.
Yeah. And so you're looking at 3,800 equal user deposits on there, but spread out. Like the last one was 3 months ago. You can't funnel $1 million through there and then withdraw it to 10 different wallets next week and then expect people to say, oh I don't know where that came from. No, like a lot of it is pseudo privacy, right? Like it achieves enough delinking of the wallets for you to be able to say, wasn't me. You know, whether that holds up in court, if it's a law enforcement issue, is debatable. But if you're sort of day to day trying to mask stuff and make your movements private, then sure, it does a fine job of that. It depends on your goals. You know, if you're Richard trying to move $600 million around, that's going to be hard.
What about just coming from an exchange, Coinbase, Binance, you know, any big exchange, going from like that wallet, which is like this shared with like a bunch of different, it's like a big hot wallet, but they like know where your money is, your account is, I guess. And then going to, you know, some other wallet, like how is that easy to trace, or like what on a spectrum of that, like just by default?
Depends a little bit on people's behavior. People get lazy. I think that's the easiest description of why I would say it's easy to trace a lot of these things, is because people get lazy. They'll deposit $123,402 into Coinbase, and then somebody else withdraws $103,402 to a different wallet. Like it's not as child's play sometimes. But if you're smart about it and you're doing different sizes and you're waiting a little bit and you're sort of trying to funnel stuff through a centralized exchange, then sure, you can do it that way. I guess a lot of people, and you know, myself included, I don't want to touch centralized exchanges if I don't need to. You know, the less the better.
What about moving through like non-EVM chains, like through Solana or through like even BTC with like Lightning Network type thing? Does that add a layer of obfuscation?
Yeah, and you've got stuff like was it ThorChain, where you can do cross-chain sort of movements like that. Yeah, sure.
PulseLN is the Bitcoin Lightning one on PulseChain.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's ways to make it much harder, and you could get to a point where it's hard enough that no average person's going to bother looking at it. It depends on how patient you are for a lot of these things. And if you're going to move stuff through Solana or through Bitcoin or something, like their block explorer is maybe not quite as helpful. It makes it a little bit harder to sort of trace that evidence. It's not impossible, but it takes time. So yeah, it's all about patience. I think people have this glorified image of Richard's going to move 166,000 ETH onto PulseChain without anybody knowing, and it's just not physically possible.
Indeed. But like, you know, from what you said, it sounds like, you know, he could move smaller amounts if he was patient in a reasonable way, and most people would get too bored to follow it to the end.
Oh yeah, 100%. You could do it slowly. I think the other theory that a lot of people have, and it's a theory that holds weight, is he could just bridge out a whole shitload of Pulse at some point and make a massive ETH Pulse pair, and then just FOMO buy that wrap Pulse, and then it'll get, you know, people will arbit over both chains, but if essentially what will happen is it'll just skyrocket the price of Pulse. And by nature, if you skyrocket the price of the base asset of the chain, everything else rises with it.
Would that make people come to Pulse? Like, it reminds me of you talking about the ethics guy, Arbing. Is there a way to do that where it makes people, okay, you have to come to PulseChain, you have to communicate with this network now because there's opportunities there.
Green candle opportunities, yeah.
Well, even just making the error on other chains, is there like a way to be, oh gosh, now I got to go to PulseChain because I got to go participate over there?
I mean,
because there's some stuff.
You might be able to pick up some Pulse over on Ethereum through that pair, and sort of not have to touch PulseChain. But if you then looked at, I'll just check out this PulseChain thing, and all of a sudden PulseX has doubled in price compared to Pulse in the last week, then you might be like, oh fuck, maybe I jump over there and see what's going on over there. And I think that's where long term a lot of the opportunity sits, is that you've got Pulse as a base asset, and it's probably never going to perform wildly because it doesn't need to, but it acts as a floor for everything else, and then the ratios of everything else just outperform it wildly, and then people chase those ratios. So you bring people in, Pulse is doing well, you bring people in, and then other stuff's doing way better, and everything then flows through Pulse to get to the other stuff.
I like that idea of having liquidity for Pulse on Ethereum.
I mean, there's some already, and that's how that one guy was selling for an extended period of time. It's I'm intrigued to see whether that theory holds any weight if he decides to deploy a whole bunch of capital somehow. I mean, you're still going to see it happen. I guess that's the challenge. Is it's not like that's a private thing to do.
Facts.
Do you think it's going to? I mean, some people think it's just going to sit there and just be used as marketing. Like we're just going to stay on the top Ethereum reserve list. And but do you think it's going to be, if it were deployed, would it be like, I'm going to buy 100 ETH of PLS and all the core tickers per day? Like how would you see it? Like how would it make sense to deploy such an enormous amount of ETH? Say ETH is at 10K or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know an easy answer to that, because he's deployed money on chain before. He's deployed like $20 million maybe a year and a half ago in several different stints, and people just sell it straight back down. He bought a whole bunch of PulseX, a little bit of Ink, a little bit of Hex, a little bit of Pulse, and it just gets counter traded every single time. So making it a sustainable move is the challenge.
But do you think that was just the conditions at the time? Like, I don't know, I always called those like test pumps. Like, hey, let's see what the market, see how that reacts. Are they ready? Or like, what would happen? I need to test these theories. That's what I always wrote off as. I didn't actually think he was like trying to start a revolution at a year or so ago when it happened, I guess. But now, I guess if he tries to do that, if he does it again in September, well, if we get like really favorable macro stuff and ETH 6K or whatever, and do you think it'll still get like? Isn't it just kind of like the, hey, you're ready yet? You can stop selling? Like now it's time to go up. Do you think people just didn't believe it was time to go up before, and that's why they sold it down?
Yeah, maybe. It's also easy to counter trade. Like because it's so obvious that it's happening, and because or when it's coming in, it's really really easy for guys like me or plenty of others out there to say, oh, he's just bridged in 100 ETH. I'm just going to like rampantly buy PulseX, and then the minute I see his wallet run out, I'm just going to dump it all. And then it sort of becomes like this, overall the ecosystem's gone higher, but people just dump down every sort of green candle.
Just sat there. Like, what if he bridged in 100 ETH and had it just sit there for months, right? And you don't know if or when it's going to be deployed. You could try to front run it, but that would add some level of interest.
I think that's the game. I mean, honestly, like if you were going to do something with it, you'd move a sizable amount on chain and just leave it. It's just the permanent carrot dangling in front of the ecosystem that at some point, well, maybe he's going to deploy it. Maybe he's going to deploy it. Maybe he never needs to. I guess that's, the reality is if you dangle that carrot enough, maybe the wider crypto ecosystem just sees that carrot and just keeps buying into the theoretical usage of that capital. Maybe it never gets used, or maybe it just gets used in a relatively small amount, and you just I'd be hard pressed to see him deploying all of it and then just throwing that money at a community for them to dump straight back down.
So,
But
so the idea would be
you could have the permanent threat there. That would work.
So the idea would be he'd move like 100, 1,000, whatever amount of ETH onto PulseChain. Everyone thinks, oh wow, that he's going to buy. He doesn't buy. It doesn't do anything with it. Just lets it sit there. People buy it because they think or believe that he is eventually going to use that to push the price up more. But ends up green candles. We get green candles.
100%. I mean, look at today.
If that was the game, you could just bridge the entire amount over like 166,000 ETH. Could sit on PulseChain, increase our TVL. Push up our rankings on everybody that tracks that kind of stuff. That would actually be pretty cool.
Yep, and I don't know who runs the bridge validators, and I don't know how much he trusts those bridge validators, because there is an element of risk in doing that. You move it all over and they say, oh, actually, we're going to shut these validators down and we're going to empty these contracts. And it gets stuck there forever. So yeah, it depends on who's running those bridge validators as to how much capital you can safely deploy on chain and know that it's not at risk. I expect that the risk is low to zero. But if you just, it sort of dangles in front of people's faces at the best of times because it's sitting on Ethereum, but you chuck that over the bridge and you dangle it even harder, then yeah, I think you almost don't need to deploy it.
I suspect, I don't know, I always think that people who are put in positions or sign up for positions with a lot of power like that probably have contracts or NDAs or something that hold have accountability somehow. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like to think that.
It's a challenging situation to figure out, but
or maybe not. Maybe it's just literally like, hey, if you don't mess up, then you get paid consistently the rest of your life type of deal. I don't know what kind of how anyone pays anyone, but there's got to be some kind of big brain genius billionaire founder guy probably got that figured out.
Yeah, there's got to be a plan somewhere in the wings, and that plan probably does get adjusted as you see the markets do what they're going to do. But yeah, who knows?
If let's say like wrapped Ethereum, right? Is it native on any other chains or is it always bridged to other chains other than Ethereum? It's like something that could be if something could be natively minted on PulseChain, that would take out the bridge risk, right? You still might have some contract risk with the, whatever wrapping organization. But that, when we're talking that kind of money, maybe somebody would be willing to step up to the plate, right? Like the guys who are in charge of wrapped Ethereum, would they be willing to deploy natively on PulseChain? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. I mean, it's fine for ETH L2s, but for a forked ETH L1, I'm not sure if it's workable. I guess that's where stable coins come into it, is like having, say, I don't know, it's never going to happen, but you suddenly have Circle say, yeah, we're going to start minting USDC on PulseChain, then cool. Like I think if you're going to look for something that's going to be mintable on PulseChain that represented significant value, it's probably going to have to be a stable coin.
Yeah. Like what if you could move ETH on Ethereum into like a DAI account or something like that, and then mint DAI on Ethereum, on PulseChain rather, so that you'd have like somebody else's would be holding it on another chain, but they give you credit for it. Like when you're talking like what I think is going to be more than $1 billion, some of these big organizations might be willing to accommodate.
Yeah. Anything's possible. I mean, I think there's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of theories out there. At the end of the day, the charts look phenomenal in the last week, but look pretty bad long term. But we are hopefully at the start of an alt season, and deployed capital or not, it might not matter for a while.
How long before we got $1 billion on this bridge? It could be
Who
in Hex too.
knows?
Hex could do it. Hex could do a 10 or 20x, and it shows
Yeah,
$1 billion, right?
that's the challenge with the TVL of the bridge is bridged in eHex. Is a significant amount of that value, but it doesn't really, I guess, represent tangible backing of the ecosystem, and that's what you should consider when you're looking at the bridge TVL. Is like which assets are coming into the ecosystem that are sort of backing the price of everything. eHex is not one of them.
Well, I mean,
it's got to be
nothing else marketing,
Ethereum or DAI or USDC are like the big ones.
And those ones have increased like $10 million in the last 3 or 4 weeks, so it's coming up pretty quick.
Is there a way to see the top bridges? I feel like that's on DeFi Llama or something, right? Top bridge holdings.
Like top bridge TVLs.
Yeah, like are we like number 10 or
yeah,
something?
DeFi Llama. No, we're like number 30 or 40 something.
Bullish.
I looked at this the other day, and I didn't include this in a post because it was not a good number.
40.
Yep.
Number 40.
Yep.
Well,
so lots of room to move.
But if we get
you throw $1 billion there, now you're nearly top 10.
Well, now we need about 3.5 billion, and we could be top 10. That'd be
piece of cake.
Bad. Can't be bad marketing, right?
3.5 billion. That if we get $18,000 ETH, there's 3 billion in the SAC wallet.
Yeah, I'll be interesting to see what does or doesn't happen with that. I think
very interesting.
You have, you have to move it in a way that it doesn't just get dumped and taken straight back off chain, because every man and their dog is dumping every 2 or 3x after years of down only. There's a big challenge to overcome.
I did not know we had inflows.
SAC price is going to tell the tale, right? Like there'll be a lot of people who move out when they get their money back. And then after that happens, once we move past SAC price, I think the serious traders from other chains might come in because that'll sort of be the confirmation. You hear traders saying that word a lot, that they're looking for.
Oh, 100%.
I don't see PulseChain on the treasuries here. So do we need to add? Do we need to add DeFi Llama?
Someone's going to have to chat to DeFi Llama.
Because it looks like they were doing the same thing as ETH Reserve. Chat. Who wants to kick it off? Maybe
get onto them.
Add DeFi Llama. PulseChain SAC not there.
Okay. There's one thing the PulseChain community can do well is be a huge pain in the ass if you do not list this properly.
Yeah, rampant harassment.
Fast is like, oh, DeFi Llama, hate for your trust pilot score to go down.
Let's be friends, DeFi Llama. Let's be friends. We want to be friends with DeFi Llama though, because I have a listing going up on there soon, and I don't want them to be mad.
Hey, shout out to them.
Positive only.
They have not delisted any PulseChain things, as far as I know.
No.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, they've been good.
Yeah. So shout out DeFi Llama. I'm about to tweet. I'm about to post at you right now too.
All the Liquidity forks, except for Ink Printer, is on there, which is what I'm trying to get on there. And we're like, they're all top 10. So it's actually good exposure to have things ranked on DeFi Llama for sure. We like them.
Get onto it. PulseChain Twitter community.
I'm tweeting it out now, and then I'll post it in the chat for everyone to bum rush it.
Yeah, nice. Hey, look, I'm gonna have to jump off, but
awesome.
We could do this again at some point. I've got plenty to talk about if we want to talk about stuff.
Would love to. Thank you very much for coming on today. And me and Fast to wrap it up. But thanks, CryptoSolv. Appreciate all you do in the community as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
Take care.
It's just us now. I got to finish this tweet. You want to talk to chat?
Yeah, you bet. So regarding the value for the EHEX, I suspect there's some value that would translate over that bridge, right? Especially if it's paired with hex on the other side, like PHEX and EHEX. I wouldn't put the on-chain value at 0 for EHEX for what's living on the bridge. I think it's worth something.
Well, it's worth whatever it's backed and stable, right? That's a canonical example.
Yep. But it's
And there's some
backed
stable.
on both sides, right? It's against ETH on Ethereum's side, and then whatever's on the PulseChain side. But if it's backed against PHEX, and then PHEX is backed against ETH on PulseChain or Pulse, or like there's going to be some redeemable, bridgeable value one way or another.
Yeah, I hope Chad appreciates CryptoSolv coming on too. Like that was I've followed his threads for a while, and it's really cool to get perspective from him. And I mean, what is one of the most interesting things you think that we've talked about so far that is just like people don't quite realize that's like bullish? What do you think so far?
As far as like interesting, I found his abilities to track things to be quite interesting. I think it's bullish that people don't realize how much better privacy could get on PulseChain, right? So it's kind of like how like the recent updates that we've seen, like the PulseChain website. Well, like it used to be pretty basic, and all of a sudden now it's like kind of awesome. And I feel that timing was done on purpose. It was basic on purpose, and now it's awesome on purpose because of the timing. And I think we'll see the same with some privacy options. Like we have LibertySwap opening up some privacy things, levels of privacy. Obviously not going to keep our friend out of the books, but keep most people out. But like, what if like there were like epic level privacy on PulseChain in general, via swaps, via protocols, all kinds of things? I think that would draw in people from other chains, right? And it would be, it's just one more thing that could be added on with the right timing of like, oh, you need privacy, go to PulseChain, right? Like that would be a great tagline.
Oh, there's so much bullish stuff happening, and now that it's the website updates. How is it not go time? Like, how is this not like planned? I've talked about it so many times. Like, I suspect there's a war room, there's a whiteboard, there's a plan. Which is like, okay, when ready, we're going to kick off PulseX upgrades. We're going to kick off, marketing. We're going to kick off all this different stuff, and the community is going to build all these things and things we like. I'm going to talk about like all these things. Like they seem to be working out in an order of some sort. And the upgrade for the website, it just looks like, hey, we are welcoming people to buy. We're ready for retail. Summer's heating up everything else. I don't know, man. I think we've just been beaten down too much. Like, I feel like people are not bullish enough on this place.
Yep.
Check any questions about the post this. Did we ever find out why Rabby and DBank stopped supporting PulseChain? Something about resources? Wasn't it something like the infrastructure costs? I think is the leading theory.
I think that would be one thing, but I think it was more than that. I suspect the PDI drama probably played a role, just with like how DBank failed to interact with the community. Yeah.
Was it like that? They were like, oh, this chain is dangerous. We don't want to do that.
So, and they obviously they didn't look close enough to see that wasn't true, that it wasn't like a chain wide problem. But I think just the FUD surrounding that, the timing of it seemed like it was connected. Although I am assuming that. I don't know that to be a fact for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, just everyone, if you want to share or engage, otherwise, whatever you think will get DeFi Llama to see such tweet. Hopefully they'll see. I mean, I don't know how they categorize treasury. Some people are like, oh, it's not treasury. And like, okay, if they it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. It's like, what do they think? And is that the same as what the strategic reserve thinks? So if they consider it a treasury, let's get some free marketing, right? So yeah, ETH.
Agreed.
Majors, ETC, BTC, ETH, stables. Theirs will be all ETH, I guess. So 100 and
I see people posting about that already on Twitter. Frank White just dropped one.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're getting the word out.
Awesome. We did it live.
Yep.
What else we got?
Yeah, yours is there. I'm going to share that. Everybody share the one that Max just posted and Frank just posted. Let's get the community to hit these guys up. We'll get it done. Reasonable, polite fashion, please.
Yes. the carrot, right? We give them the carrot.
Indeed.
Oh, I miss DBank. Every time somebody mentions DBank, I'm like, God, I really liked, especially when the Sackwell was buying. It was really fun to see. Like, oh, cool, you could see it right there.
Yeah, I miss DBank, and to a lesser degree, I miss Rabby Wallet, and how it interacted with DBank. I don't do that much wallet watching, like kind of thing. Like that's it just doesn't appeal to me. But like to have the data just pop up in a wallet that I can use is useful. Of course, we have Internet Money Wallet and some of the other old standbys that work just fine. But Rabby and DBank did do it good at the time. I would take them back.
Come back to us. Come for the mad gains. Come for the tech. Come for the price performance. Come for the twerk. Come for the community.
Or else.
I didn't want to Google the Trustpilot score or all the App Store reviews. That was, I mean, yeah, it didn't feel good at the time. I don't know if they're ever gonna consider that before they re-add us again. But it's a way of voicing feedback. Right? So there you go.
Like if people deal positively with the PulseChain community, like look at LibertySwap, look at their like Trustpilot scores. I think it's 4.9, right? Like, if you're nice to the PulseChain community, you help us, right? Like, I think people respond. Like it's like the type of community where they're actually willing to make reviews and things like that in order to help people who help them. Whereas, and if you go the other route, like, well, obviously we've seen how that worked out for DBank and Rabby Wallet.
I vote fast for PulseChain Diplomat for all the other chains. Go over there, make some deals, make some huge deals over there. We need you for the tariffs, man. Come on, get these tariffs up. Bassett needs you.
I think there is something to be said about making deals with other chains. The concept of multi-chain protocols, it really interests me. I think that's something that you see out of mature protocols, is that they're multi-chain. And so like on some of the stuff I'm working on, I'm kind of thinking multi-chain, with my main interest being on PulseChain, because it's like, okay, this launched on PulseChain, but also on Base and also on Polygon, whatever. And the users of that protocol on those chains would be like, oh, okay, what's this PulseChain option? Oh, look, the APRs are better over there. Maybe I'll go over there and do this same thing I'm doing on Base, the same thing I'm doing on Ethereum. But like, we need that exposure to people who are using DeFi on other chains and have them bring it home. And it's an EVM chain, right? Like, it's not very hard. If you can use Ethereum, you can use PulseChain.
When Binance, Dev, I keep hearing LibertySwap Binance. What's the rumor on that?
They keep doing some sort of countdown. I don't really know if it's just hype or not. Whether they're going to.
Everyone keeps asking, so like we gotta address it now. The Binancing. There was the one tweet with the Liberty in the CZ pose. Man, they were like every day, just got on spot on memes too.
They have a good promo team, right? Like there's somebody whose job it is to do this.
Dev is Devin. Cool. Yeah, sorry. They must have like a marketing. So okay.
Yeah.
So surprise timing. It seems like they just came up 8,000 followers or so at the right time. I think that's probably why people suspect RH is behind it or some kind of affiliation. But even if nothing else, like forget the conspiracy of any of that. Like, is that not bullish that like all of a sudden we have a new on ramps appear and they're just like full scale into doing this stuff? Like, isn't like almost manifesting? If everyone just is bullish, we're just going to manifest this bull market. Like, it just something there.
So it would seem, yeah. And there's definitely some conspiracy here, because like the first time I heard of LibertySwap was from RH, and that's not usually where I find out about new projects on the PulseChain. He's not one to talk about, hey, I found this new thing that no one knows about. So I feel like, and this is just my feeling, I have zero confirmation, but I feel like he must have known something before he did that.
Yeah, I think
and now they're linked right on PulseChain.com. It's like, does RH have some hand in LibertySwap? That is the question.
If you look at Yeah, I think there's some kind of communication, like I've talked about before. He probably knows about it. It's like, oh, yeah, we're building this thing. Like, cool, I like that thing. I'll talk about that thing. If you build that thing and the thing gets built, and he talks about it. When I have PulseChain.com? Is that where PulseChain.com was? If we go there, though, we can see there are a handful or 2 handfuls, I guess, of different helpful community tools. They're called LibertySwap, Coast, PulseChain Dashboard, Hex Scout, Gibbs Finance.
Yeah.
Each of these are on here for a reason, right? Like they help promote, onboard. They're here. Yeah.
But LibertySwap is by far the newest and least tested of those. Like OX Coast, those guys are OGs, right? Like I think, whether they know Richard personally or not, they're well known by the community. Hex Scout, we know that's a useful tool. I think Hexfire should be on there too. Think about that, Richard. But to have LibertySwap just show up and have that place, the first one in line under helpful tools, it feels a little bit too good to be true, right? Richard's not one to FOMO into the new cool thing, unless he has a hand in it.
Yeah. And literally everything is set up to make it easy as possible to funnel into PulseChain through pretty much DeFi, other than, we got these 2 fiat on ramps, but everything else is DeFi. We don't have any sex listings yet. Is that what people are expected to be the next shoe to drop for PulseChain, other than the mega marketing? You think prior to mega marketing they get exchange listing, or you think it's just, we're just not going to do it until, and like the chicken and egg problem, like we need green candles before centralized comes?
What if there was obviously there could be centralized exchanges, but like what if the centralized exchange was something that was PulseChain oriented, right? So I've heard smart people talk about, like, what if LibertySwap turned into a centralized exchange? What if that was the next step on their roadmap that we don't know about? Or what if Richard just announces it's time for us to have a centralized exchange? This is how you should use it to get into DeFi, right? That would pair very well with something like the massive, never before seen marketing postcards 2.0 that we know are coming out. This easy use to get onto the chain, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bigger plan than just getting listed on Kraken, right? Which is mostly a money transaction, I think, most of the time. You pay them, they list you.
Yeah, everyone's still dealing with gradual broke syndrome instead of sudden wealth syndrome. So the money fees for exchange listings harder to come by in the bear market than the bull, from what I understand.
In the bull, they increase the price too.
Oh yeah, there's probably that too.
And it's kind of ridiculous. Like, why would you pay them to, like, you have something really good with a huge community that they can buy whenever they want, like Binance, Kraken, Coinbase? They should all be running out and buying PulseChain assets and throwing them on their centralized exchanges. They would get a ton of customers. They would get a ton of traffic. It actually seems like just a good marketing spend for them. Why would we pay them? It always kind of bugs me. I understand maybe we should, but it pisses me off. They should pay us.
I try to take an outsider view on this one. I think, I don't know. I just don't think they care, like, in general. Like I know that they probably run some models and numbers, and they probably can put PulseChain into their formula, big, all right, we'll grow by, however many thousands users over the next 6 months if we add this chain or that chain. But I think they look at it. They probably figure the SEC stuff into it, which should be a good thing now that it's over. They'd be, oh, okay, that should be a positive instead of negative. Maybe they just haven't reran the numbers, but I don't know. I just think big businesses, the ones, especially exchanges where they're just printing money, whether the market's up or down, I think they just don't care. And they either need somebody to, like, put in a good word for you, or literally pay the money, or they just got to, like, one of their quant analysts just see it coming of, like, no, if we list them, all the money will come in. They got to have some other push other than, oh, that's a good chain with a lot of users that this is good. That or conspiracy. I don't know.
Some of the crap that's on some of those, right? Like, like you have ETH Fair you could buy on centralized exchanges, but you can't buy PulseChain, you can't buy Hex, right? Like, there are far worse assets that they have on centralized exchanges, I assure you.
How dare you FUD Ether? It's gonna come back.
Maybe.
Fast Abdul, excellent stream as usual.
Thanks, man.
Looks like you're enjoying the sunshine over there, and
Yeah,
getting a
enjoy
tan.
it while I can in Canada.
Yeah, I hear the winter. Hey, your winter's coming.
Winter's coming.
You may be a 51st state.
No, but you're welcome to become the 11th province.
I was like, that's the fact that no American knows. Like, I don't even know how many provinces there are, but you have to be Canadian to make that joke. Okay, number 11.
There's 10, and you could be number 11. Free healthcare, you know.
With the referendum's coming, Americans, the referendum's coming. Would you like to become Canada's 11th province? Let's go. Actually, I don't know about that. I'm not sure how it's
join me. It's beautiful.
It's summertime, so don't try to, I can tell everyone the Pacific Northwest is beautiful too in the summer, but I would be, I'd be wrong most of the year. So there's that too. Shout out to Canada and the UK. Shout out to the world. Let's onboard them to PulseChain.com.
Why not?
Fast, where can people find out more about you and your amazing intellect and ability to be diplomatic and onboard people to PulseChain?
You bet. So people could follow me on Twitter. I'm just going to add my name here. So at Fast Abdul on Twitter. Or check out my protocols. So inkprinter.com. That's incprinter.com or 2phux.io. Links to Telegram rooms. I will never DM you, send you a private message. That's probably a scammer. But I have new stuff coming, Max, and I'll be talking more about it. So it's still time to build on PulseChain. I'm probably never going to stop.
Love it. Build. Also, got a Hex commercial for everyone. We'll go out on that one. Scivive and 5555. We are out.
Hey, listen, seriously. Stop what you're doing right now and listen. It's important. People are getting rich right now. Truly rich. And you could be one of them. You need to see how people are becoming millionaires with Hex.com. Hex's launch phase ends on November 19th, and there's still time to get involved. Hex can make you truly wealthy. Go to Hex.com to find out more. That's HEX.com right now.